Yep. And we are live. It's April 24th, 2023. And these are your Fortean Files. Yep. Talked to a Phil Poling the other day, Katie. Yeah. He said, you need a new news theme? I was like, yeah. He's like, I'm not in the business of that anymore.
Fucking Phil.
Good old Phil. I love Phil. I will always and forever love Phil Poling. Okay, so inside story for everybody about me and Phil Poling. I don't know if I've told this on the show before or not. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. Phil and I have actually met in person. When I went out to Washington, out to the Olympic Peninsula, where the Grays Harbor thermal footage was filmed. Phil was there. We drank like a motherfucker all night. And, we had a really good time.
Sounds
Phil's
right.
Phil's a great dude. And before that had happened, Phil and I had met through the whole Team Taser Bigfoot bullshit that had happened way back in the day. We had become friends. We started talking late at night. I've always been a night owl. He worked third shift at the time. I think he's working like a second shift now, but he worked third shift. So he would be up all night and just be doing nothing in the job that he does. So he would, jump on. We would fucking do stupid bullshit. And one of the nights that I was in talking to him, he was like, "Hey, you want to watch Little Big Man?" And I'm like, "What the fuck is Little Big Man?" He's like, "It's a movie with Dustin Hoffman." And I'm like, "Yeah, fuck it. Let's watch Little Big Man." So we watched it. It's like a 3-hour fucking movie.
Oh, jeez.
So we watched this fucking movie.
That's a big ask.
Yeah. And we're just hanging out all night, fucking watching this movie, shooting the shit, bullshit, and back and forth. But that's how my friendship with him fucking began, really. I mean, that was like the infancy of it. We were just hanging out, shooting the shit late at night. And one night he was like, "Hey, yeah, all right, yeah, let's fucking watch a full-length feature film while we're sitting
together over the
out.
interwebs."
Yeah, fuck it. But yeah, Phil's a cool dude. So, but he has pretty much expressed to me that he's pretty much done with the whole breaking down bullshit.
Phil has left the internet.
He's, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
That's sad.
He said his response to me was he hasn't seen anything worthwhile.
Fair.
And I'm not going to disagree with him. I mean,
right. That's a fair point.
The shit that we see is, I mean, even us in our limited capacity are like, what the fuck is this?
Exactly.
So
it's understandable.
I sent the link to one Dean Cooper this evening.
Good old Dean.
Who said, and I quote, "How do I get into the show so that I can talk in the live chat?" Okay, we're 5 minutes in, Katie. No Dean Cooper. Dean Cooper.
Oh. You spoke him into existence, Chris.
Look at that. Look at that. I saw it in a movie theater before you guys were born. Yes, Dean. Yes, you did. Yes.
I'm sure you saw a lot of things in the movie theater before I was born.
Yeah, no shit. Possibly before your parents were born.
Possible. Oh, I don't know. My mom had me pretty late in life, so he might have that in his favor. But
oh God. So I did remember to cover the birds tonight. We're good there.
Nice.
I'm on top of shit. I'm still liking my little fucking Alexa device. The fucking robot overlords have entered the house.
Yes.
I have allowed it. Yep, they will.
Getting good use out of it.
They will soon. Yeah. Today I figured out how to hook up my Sirius XM through it, so that I can just pop it on there instead of worrying about it somewhere else. So that was kind of cool. I like the little note function of it is nice. And I can just, pop music on it whenever I want, and I don't have to have another device going. I can just have it on that, and I don't have to worry about anything. Yeah, it's nice. I've enjoyed having it so far. I'm not sure when I symbiotically, combine with it to become a cyborg, but
it happens soon, Chris.
I think I welcome it at this point. Let's go. Digital Chris. Let's do it. I want to look like those old pictures I saw on my Commodore 64 where they tried to make an image of a fucking photograph on the screen. That was some wild shit. The early days of computing was such a fucking wild west of what can we do with this shit,
right? Especially with the internet.
And we're talking about AI, a lot more nowadays. And I remember when I got my Commodore 64 computer, you could always find fucking pirated shit everywhere, and there was all kinds of shareware. Well, one of the things that I got from the guy that had gotten my stepfather into computers, we would always get these floppy disks, and they were huge, not like the fucking floppy disks, not the small ones. They were the big ones.
I know what you mean.
and they were actually floppy.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that he had on there was a therapist. It was a like a chat bot, basically, that you would just load up and talk to.
Wow.
And this is back in the mid 80s.
Yeah, this was pre-chat rooms.
Right. Well, actually, technically, there were chat rooms at that time. There have been chat rooms, I think, since the 70s. Dean can probably correct me on this if he's paying attention. There's been message boards.
Early to me.
There have been message boards, I believe, since the 70s. But yeah, so it was like a chatbot program. It would ask you questions. It would ask you how you were feeling, or something, and you would say something. It would say, "How does that make you feel?" Like it had like patented like responses and shit. So it's funny to me seeing like this AI world that we're in now,
right?
Where like these things are getting fucking crazy. Speaking of which, I gotta shut it off. I don't want to fucking turn it on me while we're fucking.
It's a little bit much for me.
Show.
I'm not into the AI.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom's got a pretty cool robot vacuum. I mean, I think that's pretty neat, but like
the robot vacuums are pretty wild.
Yeah.
I got to admit.
Yeah.
Like I could deal with having a robot vacuum. I don't know about you.
She's really old and she's got a big, really hairy cat. So like, it's perfect that she doesn't have to do a full big sweep as often. It's so nice.
Yeah.
And it's really capable with like Bluetooth and an app and all of that, which she doesn't use any of that. She manually tells it when to go and stuff because she don't do phone apps. So, but that thing is fancy. I plan on getting one someday for sure.
Dean, what are you talking about? I was on Genie. It was an alternative. Give me a fucking time frame, Dean. Did they have fucking message boards in the 70s?
He's been through the whole timeline. It all jumbles for him.
Jesus. He's like Dr. Manhattan. Here I sit on Mars. I stare at this picture. It's 1954. As the picture falls to the ground, it's 1982.
Oh, God.
I'm an old fucking man.
Oh.
Jesus Christ, Dean. Stick with the fucking program. People need information.
No, I could have Googled it by now. Shit.
Oh my God. He can't even stick with the fucking program. He just has to. He's all over the place. Dean is like more ADHD than any person I've ever known. Look fucking squirrel. Look squirrel. Anywho. Shit. Did you find anything for the second half of tonight's show, Katie?
No, I mean I got some things I'm up on, but
all right, we'll have to figure something out tonight. So
I had a busy day. I didn't get a chance to do much internet surfing. So
all right, well, we'll start off with this one, I guess. From lootpress.com, the story of West Virginia's Flatwoods Monster. Flatwoods, West Virginia. The West Virginia Flatwoods Monster, also known as the Braxton County Monster, is a creature that was reportedly sighted in the small town of Flatwoods on September 12, 1952. The incident began when two brothers, Edward and Fred May, and their friend Tommy Heyer, said that they saw a bright object cross the sky and land on the property of local farmer G. Bailey Fisher. They reported the sighting to a local mother, who in turn contacted the local sheriff's office. The sheriff and a group of local residents, including a few members of the National Guard, went to investigate the sighting. As they approached the area where the object was reported to have landed, they encountered a strange, pungent odor. They also saw a glowing object in the distance, and as they got closer, they spotted a large humanoid figure with a glowing red face and bright green body. The creature appeared to be around 10 feet tall and had long, spindly arms with long, sharp claws. The group became frightened and fled the area, but not before they had a chance to observe the creature and the surrounding area. They reported their sighting to the authorities, who investigated the incident, but were unable to find any concrete evidence of the creature's existence. The West Virginia Flatwoods Monster became a sensation in the media, with newspapers and magazines across the country reporting on the sighting. The incident also sparked a wave of UFO sightings in the area, leading some researchers to speculate that the creature was an extraterrestrial visitor. In the years since the incident, the Flatwoods Monster has become a popular subject of interest among UFO and cryptid researchers. Numerous theories have been proposed to explain the creature's origin and nature, ranging from extraterrestrial visitors to misidentified natural phenomena. Some researchers have suggested that the creature was a misidentified barn owl, which is known to have a distinctive heart-shaped face. Others have proposed that the creature was a type of alien robot or a product of the government's secret weapons program. Despite the many theories and speculations surrounding the Flatwoods Monster, the true nature of the creature remains a mystery. The incident remains a fascinating and perplexing chapter in history and has become a lasting part of American folklore.
What year did that happen in?
1952.
Oh, wow.
1952. So Dean was the ripe old age of 45.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's I'll let you take a look at the picture here. It's been a bit since I had seen a picture of the Flatwoods Monster.
I would say I know I've heard of this before.
I believe
yeah.
I imagine that's the boys. But yes, this is the Flatwoods Monster, as it were. Dean was born in 1952.
My mother is older than him.
So what have we learned tonight, Katie? Dean is the love child of the Flatwoods Monster.
Oh, he must be. You know what that picture has always reminded me of every time I see it? The aliens from When Mars Attacks.
Oh yeah.
So what that looks like.
Absolutely. That looks fucking like
Uh,
hilarious is what that looks like.
the arms and everything. Like that is a Mars Attacks alien wearing a dress.
Yeah.
That's what that picture is.
Damn skippy. I'm in.
I love it.
It's good. Yeah. That was a good one. Our next story of the evening. What do I got? We'll go with a Bigfoot sighting. And this is a story we've covered before, Katie, but it's kind of like an update, I guess. Kind of like an update. From ocolly.com. Don't get too excited, Katie. Bigfoot sighting in Stillwater. For centuries, people have aimed to capture the legendary creature known as Bigfoot. However, what people do not know is there are multiple Bigfoots, and they're all ladies in Oklahoma. The Stilly Bigfoot Project is an activity geared around introducing new and visiting faces of Stillwater toward familiar sites across the city, as well as to get college students and families off the couch and into the community. Clues are posted to www.stillybigfoot.com, each of them leading to a different spot in Stillwater. At the end of these clues lie 1 foot tall statues of a lady Bigfoot. There are 11 total lady Bigfoots to find, adding for much variety in the search to track down the beasts. But how exactly did these gargantuan forest dwellers come to roam nearby Stillwater locations? At a foot tall, they're gargantuan?
Right.
Seemed kind of small to me. Yeah. A book club and a bit of booze. So there we were drinking wine because that's what book clubs do. And somebody was like, let's go hunt for Bigfoot, said Christine Waits, one of the founders of the Stilly Bigfoot Project. And they were like, remember when we used to geocache? It just started coming together. You know, that's the first thing I thought of when we first talked about this, was that it reminded me of geocaching.
It's very similar for sure. It's a fun twist on it.
Right. Through the vibrant Stillwater grant, this wine wish soon became a reality, and the Stilly Bigfoot Project was on its way. Each of the lady Bigfoot creatures has its own personality, loosely modeled after a few of the members of the book club. Also, each member of the 9-woman book club chose a spot they found special to them, creating a little preview to life between the pages of Woman with Spines. I'm not going to continue on with that. I just thought it was interesting that they're keeping that going, and it seems to be I don't know, sort of taken off.
That sounds really fun. I would participate in it if I was close by. Like, that sounds really cool.
That's one of the big lady Bigfoots up in a tree.
So. That's fun. It's a cool way to just like have a reason to go
listen,
out and walk and be in nature. You know,
I want to shit on it in the worst fucking way. I want to shit on it, but it's like,
you do.
You know what? but it's, you know, it's kind of cute.
Like, it's kitschy. It's campy. It's silly, but it's fun.
No, I totally want to shit on
wholesome.
I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
like, but it's you know, it's cute. They're doing something interesting. It's they turned it into something fun. You know,
and think of how much fun they had putting it together, and then they get to share that with people. I mean, it is
absolutely,
it's cute, and it's Bigfoot, and I love Bigfoot, so you know. But it is lame that they're only a foot tall. I mean, I have an 8-foot tall cutout. It's not that hard to obtain. They could get some of them.
You can get one of those.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Let's see. What do we got next? Let's go with a UFO story, Katie. From themirror.co.uk. UFO hunter spots orb sheltering from a storm on home security footage. A homeowner was shocked when they checked. I hate it when they do that. They basically post the first line of the fucking article.
Yeah.
A UFO hunter was shocked when they checked footage from their home security camera and saw what they believed to be an orb hiding from a storm by their house. Leslie Meadows spotted the floating object in the video clip, and it appears to hover there for a while, moving up and down as the weather rages. The clip was shared on the page UFO Sightings Daily by Scott Waring, a seasoned UFO hunter who pores over NASA footage in search of alien life. He said this clip was absolute proof of alien life and described it as hovering outside the house, probably watching Leslie as it sheltered from the storm. Now, Katie, we got video.
Of course we do. Well, and it's absolute proof, which means it's actually absolute bullshit. So let's see it.
Katie, it's absolute proof. You've got to understand. It's proof. So, actually, wait a minute. Let me stop this in case there's probably an ad. Nope, no ad. No ad. We're lucky. No ad. I hate it when the ads pop up. Drives me fucking batty. All right, no ad. Here we go. That's the orb.
Do they have it highlighted, or is that the whole thing?
The thing with the green thing around it. That's the orb.
Okay, well, that does look weird, but I wouldn't say it's a UFO sheltering from the storm.
You think that looks weird?
I don't know what it is.
You don't think that looks like a drop of water on the camera lens just being pushed around by the wind?
I mean, I don't know stuff. It also kind of looks like a reflection of one of those ceiling lights to me.
Looks like it's got a nipple.
Yeah, you know, one of those boob lights. We as kid, we called them boob lights. Where
It
it's
looks
like
kind of like
circular
boobs with
light
the like
fixture.
shadowy thing beside it of itself. Looks like a set of tits.
Well, that's what I mean. It looks like a boob light. So, but I don't know. It is weird. But I would not leap to call it a UFO taking shelter from the storm.
It's this thing right here.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know who are watching, it's this thing right here. I don't know. That's what I'd say. I'd say drop of water, personally.
I wouldn't say it looks like a drop of water, but
I would, because it keeps changing shape if you pay attention to it.
Yeah, true. And it does look awfully windy out.
Yeah, it looks like a drop of water on the lens. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, that's just my take on it. That's my opinion. We welcome yours.
Yeah, for sure.
We welcome yours.
I think it looks like a floating boob, but you know, whatever.
It also does look like a floating boob.
It's a ghost boob.
I'm not even going to try to discount that, Katie. It looks like a tit.
It does.
Like
I'm telling you, this is supernatural, not extraterrestrial. It's a ghost boob.
It's a ghost tit. It's the ghost lady. It's the ghost lady showing off her tatas.
Yep.
She's like, look here, fellas. She's trying to get married to some unsuspecting, alive dude.
Hey, people are doing
or
that
female.
These days. She's got a chance.
I'm all for lesbian.
People are really open-minded.
I guess so. Today's day and age, the people are far more open-minded than they used to be, I guess.
She's got a chance.
It's a weird world we live in.
It sure is.
I don't understand this shit anymore. Okay, I can't get out of this page now. Are you kidding me?
You live there now with a ghost tit?
I guess so. It wasn't letting me get out.
She's chosen you, Chris. She's chosen you.
Fuck. Next thing I know, I'm going to be seeing ghost tits everywhere. Our next story of the evening. Let's go with this one. From foxnews.com. Newly released UFO video broken down frame by frame by Pentagon official. Truly anomalous. I need a drink before I start this motherfucker.
Sounds like you need to.
It's going to be a long one, I do believe, and I do believe there's even some videos.
That's good.
So we'll at least have some interesting shit. Newly released UFO video broken down frame by Pentagon official. Truly anomalous. The Pentagon released a video of a reported UFO flying at a high rate of speed in the vicinity of Air Force MQ-9 Reaper drones that showed some really interesting things that everyone thought was truly anomalous. The object flew over South Asia earlier this year and appeared to have a propulsion trail, but it was later determined to be a sensor artifact, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick explained. It was the second of 2 videos that the director of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, showed lawmakers during the Senate Armed Services Subcommittee on Emerging Threats and Capabilities hearing on April 19th. The first was an unresolved UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomena, which is the government-created word for UFO. In an active, Jesus Christ, fucking webpage age on me. In an active conflict zone in the Middle East in 2022. And let me see if this video works, because I think this is the one they're talking about. And of course, it has a fucking ad on it, which we have to get through. All right, let me go back here. Whoa. And I will share this with you, Katie, so you can see. Oh,
that was fast.
Is that all we get?
Huh. It looks like a boat.
Yeah, you know what? It fucking does. Fucking spaceship Yamamoto.
It looks like a battleship's boat.
Fucking. Oh my god. Fucking, this is an anime. Jesus fucking Christ.
There it kind of looks like a missile, but before it looked like a battleship boat.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting.
It is interesting. I don't think I've seen that before.
All right, let me see if this one will let me go back to the page. There we go. Why am I showing you this? Kirkpatrick told lawmakers. Excuse me. This is the kind of data we have to work with and the type of analysis we have to do, which can be extensive when you have to pull these apart frame by frame. Further, we're now matching all of this with models of all those imaging sensors so that I can recreate this. I can actually show how the sensor going to respond.
Yikes.
Wow.
Excellent journalism.
Yeah, no shit. Kirkpatrick showed an infographic during his presentation with information about the 2023 UFO sighting in South Asia that he said is resolved. The Pentagon is tracking more than 650 cases of reported UFOs that are preliminarily categorized into common objects like balloons or airplanes. The ones that don't fit in any of the categories are prioritized by where they were spotted, Kirkpatrick said. Are they attached to a national security area? Does it show some anomalous phenomenology that's of interest? He said. If it's just a spherical thing that's just floating around with the wind and has no payload, that's less important than something with a payload on it, and that's less important than something that's maneuvering. And an in-depth report about UFO reportings is expected to be released sometime this summer, possibly in July, Kirkpatrick said. He opened his presentation by saying there's no definitive evidence of extraterrestrial technology or alien life. But the number of UAP reports has increased over the last few years as the stigma associated with UAPs slowly wears off and as the government ramps up its efforts to address potential safety risks associated with unexplained objects in the sky. The ongoing review by the U.S. intelligence community and the Pentagon of hundreds of UAP incidents reported by military personnel was one of the techniques that helped identify Chinese spy balloon, a U.S. official said in February. Last week's public hearing was only the second one in the last 50 years in which lawmakers have openly discussed UFOs. The first was last May. Kirkpatrick says there needs to be more information and data funneled to the AARO if the department hopes to close unresolved cases. We're working with the Joint Staff to issue guidance to all the services and commands that will then establish what are the reporting requirements, timelines, and all the data that is required to be delivered to us and retained from all the associated sensors, Kirkpatrick said. Former Navy pilot Ryan Graves was one of the whistleblowers who have come forward to discuss their interaction with potential UFOs. We need to be able to agnostically, as a media, accept that there is uncertainty and look at it from a first principles approach, Graves said in March. Because if we wrap it into all that context about little green men, we're going to be barking up the wrong tree. Jeremy Corbell, an investigative journalist and documentary filmmaker who was the only civilian named during Congress's historic UAP hearing in May 2022, told Fox News Digital that no single video of a UAP will make the case for the UFO reality. He's not wrong.
No.
He's not fucking wrong.
No, for sure.
And that's pretty much it. It's just that one video. There is another video, but it's of the old, I think, Tic Tac UFO or whatever.
Yeah. Another Pentagon release one.
Dean Cooper, does a ghost lady use a ghost dildo? I don't know. Dean, I don't know.
I thought
but
he was
I can
the
tell
knower of
you,
all.
but I could tell you that if there was a ghost dildo that was available on the market, it would probably be under most women's beds. Just saying.
I can't support that statement.
I can. I've seen those boxes, Katie. They're pretty diverse. They're usually pretty diverse. Maybe yours isn't.
I'm a simple gal.
God damn. Fucking boxes that are under women's beds are more diverse than my fucking toy cabinet as a kid. Jesus Christ. The purple, pink, blue.
Yeah. I can't relate to that.
To our next story of the evening. What do we got here? What do we got? We'll go with this one, Katie. Back to the mirror.co.uk. Exclusive, Katie. Exclusive. I'm running the UK's first UFO tour. Here's one thing to do if you want to see aliens. Oh, boy. A UFO hunter has shared stories of his close encounters and offered advice for people who want to spot something unexplained in the sky. This week, former detective Gary Hesseltine announced the UK's first UFO tour through Rendlesham Forest, Suffolk, in August this year. The committed paranormal investigator has spent the past 5 years looking into a string of notorious incidents at the site, where a number of witnesses reported seeing unexplained lights in the sky in December 1980. He has just published Non-Human, the Rendlesham Forest Incidents, 42 Years of Denial, which digs into the case and includes a number of his interviews with members of the public and military who were in the area at the time. Ahead of the tour, Gary spoke to the Mirror about his close encounters and his advice for those who want to track unidentified flying objects. People who want to see strange things should get serious and set up their own cameras, as he has done, Gary said. He told the Mirror, I've been conducting my own private night vision camera research, and I have hundreds of hours of mostly satellites being tracked. I've seen triangular formations across the sky, 4 or 5 objects moving across the sky, and captured strange objects with infrared. There are many strange things that can be seen on night vision. I'm sure there are, Gary. I'm sure there are. Last summer, I went out for a 2-hour session, putting the night vision goggles through the laptop. I caught almost 200 objects in the sky. In terms of the best destinations to see UFOs, Gary said locating hotspots in the UK has been difficult since 2009, when the Ministry of Defense stopped its centralized reporting facility. Since then, it's very fragmented. There's no accurate record of anything, Gary opined. Warminster in Wiltshire was famous for sightings starting in the 1960s. In the 70s and 80s, it was a big area in Yorkshire, a triangle from West Yorkshire to Lancashire. There were a lot of sightings then. Gary, who is vice president of the International Coalition for Extraterrestrial Research, had his first of a number of sightings when he was 16, and he saw a strange white light above his hometown of Scunthorpe. Scunthorpe. He was on a walk with his then girlfriend on a warm summer's night when they saw a really big blob of white light in the sky before the streetlights went out around them. He said the whole area had a power cut. We kept watching it. It moved very slow in the direction of my home. It was going to my house. Gary said he cycled his girlfriend back to her home on his handlebars and then rushed back to his. I dropped my bike outside my house and rushed inside to my parents and said, "Come outside, there's going to be a power cut." I ran out the back door to my semi-detached garden just in time to see the same object moving silently above me at the end of the garden. I put my hand up like I was in class straight up to make a 90-degree point. As soon as it went past my arm, the entire area was plunged in darkness. Before he immersed himself in the topic in later years, Gary largely left the experience behind, joining the Air Force and having 2 kids. In latter years, he has become a leading authority among those who believe the truth is out there. I've never seen a definitive spaceship, but the closest I came to a close encounter was in the early 2000s, Gary said. I used to live on a flight path to Leeds, Bradford, and of an evening towards dusk, you'd see planes flying in. One day I saw an object coming low on the horizon, not on the usual flight path, maybe a mile away. There were no navigation lights. As it came towards me, I saw it looked like a sphere. It was a silvery ball. I got my binoculars and managed to get 4 seconds looking through them. It was a silver sphere with no tail, no markings, and no noise. It disappeared behind the houses. In recent years, a problem for UFO hunters has been the rise of videos designed to trick viewers. And then it just goes on about fucking CGI. But, yeah. If you want to see a UFO, he's going to have a tour. A tour.
I question his touting of that being the first UFO tour in the UK. Really?
I don't know, maybe. I've never heard of a UFO tour. I've heard of people going out to like look at UFO hotspots.
Right, but I guess not like a organized tour.
Yeah, not an organized tour. And I'm not a big fan of this type of thing.
No, me neither.
Like I'm not a big fan of any of these types of get-togethers, gatherings where people pay.
Well, and even just
for these
the whole tone
things.
of the way he was framing the research of like, oh, it used to be such this hotspot, but like now sightings are sporadic and information is sporadic. Like, well, maybe that's because they're not here anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe whatever people were seeing that caused all those sightings isn't around anymore.
Away.
And that's why you're not getting all the sightings. It's an awesome conspiracy.
Anywho. Yeah, that was one when I saw the fucking the headline to that story, I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely doing this one tonight.
Right.
Definitely fucking grabbing that one. All right. Our next story of the evening from moviemaker.com. Amityville, an origin story, reveals one man's terrifying account of what really happened during 1976 haunting, and it involves the occult. Dun, dun, dun. We have run the fucking gamut with fucking Amityville.
Mm-hmm.
So,
for sure.
The Amityville horror is an interesting one for me.
Yeah.
So, when I was really young, when I was about 14, I read the story by Jay Anson, the novel, The Amityville Horror.
Right.
And I read that book in like a day. Like, I couldn't put it down. Fucking Jody the pig, fucking just all the shit in that. It fucking had me frightened. The idea that this was, the real deal. Like, this shit happened.
Right.
I was fucking petrified. So then you flash forward and there's all kinds of things that have come out about Amityville over the years.
Over and over.
Like, it's in a lot of ways, the Amityville story is a lot like the JFK assassination. You know, somebody will come out with a book and they'll refute everything, and then everybody flips to one side, and then somebody else comes out with a book later on, and they're like, no, I'm back in, I'm back in, and then somebody else comes out with a book later on, and they're like, oh no, shit, no, probably no, I'm back in.
And then looking back on it all is so messy too. When you try to like sort through the past, it's like, wait, it's a messy timeline for sure.
Yeah,
that's a fair comparison. Yeah.
And the original story of Amityville, like the murders that happened in that house, are horrifying.
Yeah.
And listen, that in and of itself is a mystery. Okay. They don't understand how all of the people stayed in their beds and nobody woke up. You know, so there's already enough mystery to this whole fucking bullshit without having to add all of the supernatural shit that other people later on brought in.
Yeah.
Now maybe it's the case, maybe it's not. I don't know.
Right.
I am no fucking expert, paranormal and or otherwise. I don't think I'm an expert on fucking anything.
Right. I'll be honest, I've always gotten more of a true crime vibe from it than a paranormal one. But
I thought you were going to say fraud in response to what I was saying about myself. So I really have a personal investment or investiture in this story for me because I've been following it for so long.
Right.
So when I found out that a lot of that stuff was probably more or less horse shit at one point in time, I was like heartbroken.
Yeah.
Like here was this thing that I grew up with that I fucking I believed in, and I was like, wow, that's a crazy fucking story. What the fuck?
Right.
You know, how could that happen to people? Yeah, really, really stuck with me. So going through these different iterations of this story has been very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, Amityville: An Origin Story, a new 4-part docuseries on MGM Plus. Do I gotta get a new fucking streaming service?
I've never even heard of that one. What?
Jesus. Directed by Jack Riccobono, or I don't know how to pronounce that fucking name. So Jack, I apologize. Dives deep into the true events behind one of the most popular horror films of all time, the Amityville Horror, and explores whether dark occult rituals could be to blame for the infamous 1976 haunting. What happened in the 1977 book by Jay Anson and the 1979 movie starring James Brolin and Margot Kidder is not what happened in real life, according to Christopher Lutz, who was a child when his now deceased mother and stepfather moved their family into the reputedly haunted house just 1 year after 6 members of the DeFeo family were murdered there. Excuse me. Lutz believes the truth is much more sinister than the book or movie explains. The Lutz family, consisting of parents George and Kathleen and their 3 children, Christopher, Daniel, and Missy, moved into the house in December 1975. Daniel and Missy were not interviewed in Amityville: An Origin Story. According to George and Kathleen's account, they lasted only 28 days before they fled out of fear of the paranormal activity they say they experienced in the home, a large Dutch colonial house in the small Long Island, New York village of Amityville. What Christopher Lutz believes really happened. Although it's been almost 50 years since he lived in the house, Christopher Lutz is still haunted by what he says happened within its walls, and he's determined to set the story straight. According to Lutz, Jay Anson's 1977 book, The Amityville Horror, and the 1979 movie of the same name leave out a key piece of information about his stepfather, that he was dabbling in the occult. Christopher Lutz reveals in the docuseries that he believes George Lutz, who died in 2006, purposefully opened the door to dark supernatural forces by doing occult rituals in the house, and then twisted his story about what really happened there to make a profit. He was very angry at his stepfather, George Lutz, because he felt that George ultimately embellished the story in press accounts and in subsequent books that he wrote, and kind of turned what was a real experience for Christopher into something that he was clearly trying to monetize and turn into a business. Director Jack says. I'm not even going to fucking try to pronounce his name again. But I think that's part of what gives Christopher credibility, is that he's willing to kind of call out his stepfather for things that he feels were embellished. In the docuseries, Lutz says he believed that any house would have become haunted if it was the site of occult rituals like the ones he believes his stepfather performed. One way that Lutz says his stepfather invited negative spirits into the house is through transcendental meditation. What?
That's a lot of mouth noises put together.
Meditation is just meditation. Like,
right. And transcendental, is he talking about his teeth?
No. Transcendental meditation is a higher form of meditation.
Okay, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, it's oh god. A widely used form of meditation that spread to the West in the 1960s and 70s. TM involves repeating a mantra chosen specifically for each person by their guru. But according to Lutz, his stepfather went rogue from traditional TM practice and began meditating with unapproved mantras that Christopher believes had the power to invite dark and even demonic spirits into the house. To those who practice TM, including this reporter, that's in the article, by the way, don't worry, Jack, that's the director guy there with the name that I won't fucking pronounce, isn't trying to scare anyone out of doing TM. It's not supposed to be a takedown of TM. That's very particular to Christopher's take on how he thinks the misuse of TM may have led to what they experienced in the house, Jack says. Reps for the Maharishi Foundation USA, which teaches the official transcendental meditation technique, did not immediately respond to movie makers' request for comment about the use of TM in the Amityville house. Here we go. I knew before I even swapped over to this screen, because I was reading the article, not even seeing the screen. I already knew Dean had chimed the fuck in.
Uh-huh. Right up his alley, huh?
Mr. fucking Guru with his fucking beard and his fucking long hair. You drinking some tea, are you, Dean? Are you? What's your blend? Oh, god damn it.
Sitting on his floor pillow.
Oh, Jesus. Aside from pointing fingers at who or what caused the haunting, Jack is fascinated by how the Amityville story has lived on through the decades, continually piquing the interest of people who weren't even alive when it began. There must be more to that story, but Christopher didn't share it with us. I think one of the crazy things about Amityville is that it is this kind of insane feedback loop at this point. I don't think it will ever end, Jack adds. It had this whole second life on the internet and social media, and people keep reinvestigating these events and coming up with new theories. Now Christopher is a really interesting individual, and he has his own ideas and beliefs about what happened, and he wouldn't share anything with us. Then what are you doing a fucking documentary for?
Right.
Anyhow. And that was kind of common in this landscape. Amityville is the strange alchemy of paranormal and greed and murder and distrust. So almost everyone who touches this story is obsessed with it, can't leave it alone, but also wishes that it would go away forever, Jack continues. There is a very surreal conflict, I think, from people who are directly touched by the story, where somehow it just keeps pulling them back in. An Amityville: An Origin Story premieres on MGM Plus on Sunday, April 23rd at 10 p.m., with new episodes arriving weekly. So it started this week. Interesting. I'd like to watch it.
Yeah, I'd like to hear what the kid had to say as an adult now, for sure. Because I have heard that, like, it's been pretty well known that those Lutz parents definitely ran with the story to make money. Like, I don't think that's, like, refutable.
Right.
So I would love to hear from that kid's perspective, for sure. That's some hot gossip.
Yeah, I'm still skeptical of the whole thing, though.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure.
You know, like it's changed so many times now.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's messy.
Yeah, it's very messy. And when you get to
Mhm.
this messy point where we're at, it's flipped and flopped so many times. Are we ever going to get the real story out of this? Probably not. It's like the same
No.
thing with fucking JFK. We're probably never going to
Right.
get the real fucking story. Even
No.
if they release all the information, we're probably never going to get the real story.
I say this a lot, but they don't have to release the real information, and that's the sad truth. Like, it sucks, but it's never going to happen. And even if they claim to, you can't believe it. So it's just,
Yeah. It's and like I said, I have a really I feel like I have a personal connection to the story because it's been in my life for so long.
right. You
Like I
followed
remember
it through your
I remember
lifetime.
picking that book up when I was very, very young. It was before I read it, and be like, oh, I'm gonna read this someday,
Right.
And I sat down one day and read through it and just fucking plowed through that book. Just boom, 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 chapter after chapter after chapter. Could not put the fucking thing down.
And then all the
And
media that's out there about it on top of that.
but see, that's the funny thing. At that point in time, I never saw any of that shit.
Right.
I never
Took
saw
time
any
to
of
get back to it, but
Right. It wasn't until I was much, much older that the stuff about it being, possibly a hoax or, so on and so forth. Like I saw the movie.
right.
I think everybody saw the movies.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember watching it as a kid, the movie, and hearing about it and hearing that it was paranormal. But then I remember looking into it as an adult and thinking, this sounds more like a true crime, horrific murder story than it does like a ghost story. Like, this sounds like a
I,
murder to
I'm
me.
more interested in the DeFeo murders than I am in the Amityville horror at this point. I'm
Right.
more interested in the mystery that is that story. Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck happened?
But
Like,
it's so hard to get to that because of all of the layers of crap that have come after it.
yeah.
It is hard to break through to the truth of that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dean says he lives in a haunted house once.
I bet he did.
But he did. He was probably the fucking ghost that haunted it
If not, he will be.
at some point. Our last story on this section of the show tonight from foxbusiness.com. SpaceX successfully launches giant Starship rocket, explodes minutes later.
Oh, yes, indeed it did.
Now, for most people who don't understand, this was a successful mission. And people will say, it fucking blew up. This is how they do this shit.
Mm-hmm. It's part of the process, man.
You don't just fucking launch rockets into space with people in the ships.
Yeah.
Like, that just doesn't happen
Right.
straight out the gate. They got to test this shit. They got to make sure it works. And from what I gather, this launch was a complete success. Did you get a chance to see this fucking thing, Katie?
I think I peripherally looked at it, a clip for a second, but no, I did not invest any amount of internal thought to it.
This
at
thing
all.
was a fucking it's like a building. They launched a building into space.
A skyscraper.
Yeah, they launched a fucking building into space.
It didn't get very far. It seems like it exploded pretty quick.
Yeah, there's a video. Hold on, let me see if there's if it's got an ad. We'll see if we've got they got a video on this fucking webpage. So yeah, of course there's an ad. You got to get through the fucking ads because we got to hear about how farm country's great. You might need a Ford truck or a Chevy truck or a fucking Dodge. I don't know. Or fucking buy produce from this fucking I don't know what this fucking ad is. It's the American dream. We're gonna drink Budweiser at the end. Ads fucking baffle me these days. It was for none of those things at all, Katie.
Of course it wasn't.
I don't even want to say what it was for.
Well, now you have to say what it was for.
It was for Oracle NetSuite.
Wow.
Does any of that even like?
Wow.
No. All right, so let's watch this fucking thing take off. What the fuck? Why not?
Let's do it.
Might as well. Elon Musk, he's just fucking building electric cars and launching shit into space. And let's put some fucking sound into this bitch.
That is big.
Fuck yeah. Look at that thing.
That poor building. Is that a building? What is that next to it?
That's the scaffolding shit.
Wow.
That is fucking crazy.
That's incredible, honestly. Look at it go. Wow.
That is nuts.
Chamber pressure is nominal.
You know, Elon's just fucking
Coming in his
into
pants.
this. Yeah, he's just creaming.
He's like, I'm gonna launch a spaceship.
Okay, that lasted longer than I thought it did. I thought it blew up by now.
We're flying at twice the thrust of a Saturn V heading to space.
Holy shit.
Okay, that made it really far.
We're throttled down and throttled back up.
And they wind up blowing it up.
Oh, so they did it on purpose?
Yeah, well, they load them with ordnance in case something happens.
Yeah.
And they have to.
So they got a bunch of data from that. That was an important.
Right.
40 seconds.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there you can tell now. See, it's spinning.
Beginning the situation.
That is so cool.
It does appear to be spinning, but I do want to remind everyone that everything after clearing the tower was icing on the cake.
Boom.
Yeah. That is so cool. That's so awesome.
That's the shit. Yeah, I thought that was very, very cool. And I at least wanted to talk about it tonight because there's a lot of people saying that, I blew up a fucking. No, they're testing the fucking shit.
As they should. And it's even cooler that it's a private company and not some government funded thing. Like that is really cool that some rich motherfucker just sent a rocket into space. That's cool.
I think it's cool that he's trying to innovate.
Yeah.
Like there's not too many people who are trying to innovate out there. Like the idea that he has for that tunnel to like eliminate some fucking traffic. The idea of a tunnel where you fucking, either you drive your car up in, it brings you down into the tunnel and you zip through the fucking tunnel and then it brings you back up and you're, wherever you need to go.
I haven't heard about that, but that sounds
he's working on this whole idea of a tunnel thing. Plus he's working on like newer trains. The fucking guy he's innovating and I like that. He
is like the figurative Albert Einstein or Nikola Tesla of our time. You know what I mean? Like has that kind of
I don't
brain.
see him as that type of person. He's like a Steve Jobs. Okay, so Steve Jobs was not like a super intelligent guy. He was a guy that took super intelligent ideas and made them and brought them to the public.
See, I think Elon does have a level of intelligence.
Oh, I think he's intelligent.
Brain power way above Steve Jobs, personally.
I think he's intelligent, but I think he's more like Steve Jobs. He's the guy that's bringing us all this shit and packaging it.
He's got the business side of it, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's really, really smart, but
no, he's definitely smart. When I hear him talk, I'm like, he is already the AI.
Right. He's creating
he sounds
AI
like a robot
in the best way, though. I mean, he
thinks
investing in that brain.
He thinks that that we should halt AI development.
I agree
immediately.
I full-heartedly agree with that sentiment.
Like, he thinks I should take my Alexa off the wall and burn
You
it
should.
and put a stake through its heart to make sure that it's fully dead.
It's good advice.
I might have to at some point. I don't know. It might take me over completely. So you want to do you ready to do our break, Katie?
Word.
For the evening. We'll do so we will leave you here with the sounds of night driving.
Yes.
As Katie and I take our break after our first hour. We will return momentarily.
BRB.
So enjoy yourself and don't fall asleep. And we are back.
I actually really like that music a lot. It's very
that stuff is not
lo-fi.
bad. I'm gonna keep it. I'm definitely gonna keep that as long as I have it on here.
That's what I listen to in my office at work in the mornings, like prior to 8 a.m. when it's really quiet and chill. I listen to like lo-fi, and it sounds just like that. It's lovely.
There is one on there called lo-fi.
Yes, it's great stuff. Or chill-fi. Or chill hop.
This is the one that's called lo-fi.
Yep, sounds like it. I like the other one better still, but
yeah, I like the night driving one.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, I definitely like that. So I guess Dean had to leave us. I gotta go. Good show. Goodbye, Dean.
Good old Dean Cooper.
Goodbye, Dean. Fuck off.
Good old fucking Dean.
Good old fuck Dean Cooper. So yeah, it's been a week. The only thing that I had found And I did not go looking, and I did not get into the Boston Marathon bombing doc like I wanted to. I was painting all weekend. Had to make some money, folks. Gotta fucking make some money.
We all do. Excuse me.
Good out.
Sorry. Yeah.
Good out.
We all need that paper.
Yeah, and so I didn't. And Katie had asked me last night. I had gotten home, and I was sitting here, and you had messaged me while I was driving home from painting, and I had I got pulled over.
Oh no!
I forgot to tell you this story.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about this story. So yeah, so you had asked me about the documentary. So I had passed out. I did not get a chance to watch the documentary. And I woke up this morning, listened to my morning show, and promptly passed out until 4 p.m. this afternoon when I wanted to get up and watch the show that I had planned on watching this afternoon before the show that we do.
Right.
So yeah, I didn't get a chance to do shit. But so driving home from painting Saturday night. Now, mind you, I left Newcastle.
Was it Sunday night?
What's that?
Was it Sunday night or Saturday night?
It was Saturday night that I got pulled over.
Yeah.
Sunday night, I made sure to. I'll get to that.
Okay. Yep.
So I went up. I woke up at like 11:40 on Saturday in the morning. Got ready, headed up to paint all day, and I painted. I left there about, I think it was 11 that night. Now where I was is about an hour and 20 minutes from where I live. So
it's a sturdy drive.
Yeah. And anybody who knows me knows that I drive the speed limit. I'm very hyper aware of the things that I'm doing while I'm driving. I don't go outside. I do what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, I drive about 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, but that's about as fast as I go.
Yeah.
So I'm coming through Bath, and they almost always have a cop sitting on the bridge. So I come up over the bridge. I see the cop on the bridge. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Going through, boom, doing my thing. I've got my fucking cruise control on, so I'm not too worried about it. Go by him, no issue. Nothing. Doesn't come after me, doesn't stop me, nothing. Okay. Keep going. Come up through into another section, and there's another cop sitting there. I'm like, oh, geez, they're fucking everywhere tonight. Next thing I know, he whips out behind me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm doing the speed limit. Like, whatever. So I pull over into the fucking side lane. He puts his fucking blues on. I pull right over to the side of the road. I'm like, oh, he's pulling me over.
Right.
So I sit there for a good, I don't know how fucking long. It was a good long while. And finally he comes up to the car, knocks on my passenger side window, because we're on like it's kind of like a highway.
Yeah.
And he says, do you know why I pulled you over? And my response was like this. Exactly. Nope. Sure don't. And he's like, you got a plate light out. And I'm like,
that's the
fucking
worst.
And I'm sitting in my head, not saying this out loud, but going, fucking really?
Yep. They'll pull you over for that all day long. all night long.
Now, mind you, there's 2 lights on your plate.
Yeah.
There's one on each side. I had one that was working.
Well,
Now-
trucks usually only have one, but yeah.
Now, he could have just said, hey, you might want to get that taken care of.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's late. You look kind of tired. You know.
Put it on your priority list, please.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no. License and registration. Proof of insurance. So I give him my insurance. And I'm like, listen, my wife and I don't have the same last name. He asked me for her name, so I give him her name. And he's like, I'll be right back. Now, be right back. They're not right back, ladies and gentlemen. When a cop tells you that they're going to be right back, hold tight.
Get comfortable.
Yeah. Kick back for a little bit.
Light a cigarette.
You're going to be sitting there.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hot minute. Yeah. So comes back and says, so I'm sitting there. And all of a sudden he pops back over and says, hey, I just wanted to check. Did I tell you that it was your tail light or your plate light?
What?
And I'm like, at this point, I'm thinking, what the fuck? Like, regardless, I don't give a shit.
Weird.
Either give me the ticket, give me the fucking warning, let me go home.
Right. If he's
You're
not
holding
sure,
me the
he should have
fuck
just
up.
let you go. Oh my God.
And I'm being fucking completely compliant.
Yeah.
I'm like, you told me it was the plate light. Oh, okay. Good. I just wanted to check. Okay. Goes back to his vehicle. Young cop, by the way. Really young cop.
Yeah.
So he comes back with my license, registration, and a warning. And as he's handing me everything and talking to me, he's like, driving all the way back to Old Orchard? I'm like, yeah, I've been working all day. And then he says to me, and he gets serious and goes, that a Red Bull? And I'm like, yeah, it is. And I reached down and grabbed it and pulled it up and held it in front of his fucking face. Until he said, oh, okay. And put it back down. And then he says, I'm going to turn off my lights and turn off my forward light. And that'll be your cue to go.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like, okay. Thanks.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so that was my Saturday night. It was a good time. I recommend it, I guess.
Getting pulled over in the middle of the night's always the best. Was it dark? It was dark, right?
It was fucking after midnight. No, it was
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't after midnight.
Yeah.
It was after midnight that I got going again.
Okay.
It was after midnight that I got going again. Somewhere around there, I can't remember. It was late and I was pissed. So then on Sunday, I made sure to, because I didn't have a chance to stop at like Napa or anywhere to grab a light. So I just made sure that I left before it got dark so that I could get home before I had to turn on my lights.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I feel you. The very first time I ever got pulled over was when I was 16 in a diesel truck, pouring down rain, 10, 11 o'clock at night. And it was for my license plate light being out. I was 16.
Yeah.
And he asked me where I was going. And I was like, actually, I'm going to my lake cottage. It's literally a summer cottage in the middle of nowhere. And he goes, you better get it changed before you leave. And I looked at him and I go, do you think our shed that was built in 1934 is going to have a taillight just for my car? And he goes, get it changed. And he walked away, went to his police car and drove away. And that was my first interaction with a cop. And I was like, what?
My first interaction was actually with getting pulled over. I had actually had an interaction before then, the day before, like no, a couple days before, because I'd gotten in my first accident.
Oh no!
I got into my first accident and got pulled over for the first time within a week.
Ooh, I got a parking ticket within 2 days. So
totaled my first car.
Oh
and
no!
then no, not my first car. Totaled a car, and then got pulled over. In my stepmother's car. So I'm driving home from work, working night shift. All right, I'm fucking bombing home. I'm doing like I had to have been doing like, oh fuck, like 75. I had to have been, because I was flying to get home. I was tired as fuck, and it was in like a 35.
Oh God, that's bad.
And I passed him. He threw his fucking lights on. He comes up. He's like, license and registration. I'm like, yeah, I'm really sorry. I'm fucking trying to get home. I'm tired. I'm really, really sorry. He's like, yep. He's like, who's, this person? I'm like, that's my stepmother. Yada, yada, yada. Boom. He takes, and I had just gotten my license. My license. I was within a year of having my license.
Yeah.
So at that point in time, if you had any violations within that time, it was an immediate 90-day suspension.
Yikes.
Immediate.
Yeah. Well, 75 and a 35 is pretty bad, Chris.
Yeah. So he comes back up to the vehicle and he says, he says, you know what I can do, right? And I'm like, yeah, you can suspend my license for 90 days. I'm like, I'm super, super, super sorry. I'm like, I was fucking tired. He's like, I clocked you going 55 in a 35, but I know goddamn well you were going faster. And I think I said to him, like, I was like, you're not wrong or something like that. Like,
right.
I was honest. Yeah. I was like, fucking dude, I'm not even gonna fucking lie to you. And he's like, listen, I'm gonna give you a warning. Get your ass home. Get some fucking sleep.
You are a lucky son of a bitch.
Ever let me catch you fucking speeding down here again.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So I am very, very cautious when I'm out. Like, there are times when I'll go a little fast, like when I'm traveling and I'm on highways.
Right.
That's a little
different.
Like, that's a little different, but for the most part, I'm a 5 mile per hour over the speed limit guy. That's as fast as I go.
8 your great, 9 your mine. That's what I live by. I'll set my cruise control 8 over the speed limit, and that's like where I live,
Yeah. I mean, it's just the way I've always been. I've always felt comfortable with that. I know they're not going to fuck with me if I'm at that. So that's what I drive at. Yeah. But anyway, I did grab this story from fox6now.com because I thought it was interesting. Texas inmate's execution on hold. Lawyers say evidence from true crime podcast proves he was framed. Collin County, Texas. The execution of a Texas death row inmate was put on hold after his lawyers argued there's evidence showing that he was framed. Ivan Cantu was convicted for the 2000 murders of his cousin James Mosqueda and his cousin's fiance Amy Kitchen in far north Dallas. He was scheduled to be put to death Wednesday, April 26th, but a district court in Collin County ordered the withdrawal of the execution date after an appeal was filed by Cantu's lawyer this week. The judge said the latest appeal needs more consideration. The appeal filed by Cantu's lawyers cite an independent investigation from the true crime podcaster Matt Duff. Over the course of the 41-episode podcast, Cousins by Blood, Cantu's lawyers say that Duff proved Cantu never got a fair trial. The more I looked into it, the more it unraveled, said Duff, a private investigator from North Carolina who spent the 4 years investigating Ivan Cantu's case. Cantu was convicted of the murders in 2001. In November 2000, investigators told Fox 4 they believed a robber killed James Mosqueda and Amy Kitchen. Officers believed the crime occurred because robbery was the motive. The murders occurred during a robbery attempt. The car was taken and some other items were also missing, police told Fox 4 at the time. Cantu always maintained his innocence. If they will look at the facts, they will clearly see I'm an innocent man and I do not belong here, he told a reporter in 2022. At trial, prosecutors presented evidence of Cantu's fingerprints on the magazine of the gun used in the killings, along with bloody clothing seized from Cantu that had the victim's DNA on it. But Duff says one of the key things he learned in his investigation is that the state's star witness, who is now deceased, lied on the stand. That witness, Amy Botcher, was Cantu's fiance. Amy said Ivan had stolen James' watch and then tossed it out the window, Duff said. Early in my investigation, I discovered the Rolex. Although it was reported missing, it was later recovered at the house and given back to the family. So the family had that Rolex all along, but no one figured that out until 2019 when I started this case. The Rolex was unique because it had an inscription on the back. That means Amy was inserting details the cops had to make her statement match the crime, said Duff. Interesting. Botcher also claimed Cantu proposed to her using a diamond ring taken from Kitchen after he killed her. Witnesses have since come forward and said Botcher announced their engagement a week before the murders had shown off the ring. According to a petition for clemency in 2022, Amy's brother Jeff Botcher called the Collin County DA to recant his testimony. He was the only individual who said Ivan was planning the murders, explained Duff. Cantu's mother spent the day in Austin Wednesday meeting with lawmakers and got the news a judge halted his execution on her drive home. He says, I have a stay of execution, and we were ecstatic, just ecstatic. I said, oh, Ivan, congratulations, said Sylvia Cantu. But Sylvia knows her son's fight is still not over. Does Ivan deserve a new trial? Yes, he does. He was never afforded a fair trial, due process, no defense that fought for him, she said. Fox 4 reached out to Collin County District Attorney's Office, but have not heard back. That one's interesting.
Yeah, I as soon as you said the name, I looked it up because I was like, if I heard of this, and I don't recognize this dude at all, and he's very striking looking.
It reminds me of the Adnan Syed murder conviction. I watched that whole thing about him, and it kind of reminds me.
I think Adnan Syed is at least involved, if not guilty.
Really?
I do, for sure.
Really?
I do. I don't think he should have been convicted with the way the trial went. Fair. Court was not fair. He should not have been convicted, but he had guilt knowledge through the investigation. So he was at the very least involved, and there's some like cell phone stuff. But anyway, I've never heard of this case of this guy. Yeah. And I'm really surprised. That's never been on my radar before. And now I'm really intrigued, and now I want to know about it.
Yeah.
That does sound really interesting. So the wife that testified is dead now, right?
Let me look.
That's what that article was implying. That the one that testified that got him convicted is dead now.
Let me see.
That was what kind of led into the story of the wife. So,
yes, the fiance is now dead.
Okay, fiance, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
And she's the one that claimed all of the shit that got him convicted.
Her being dead isn't great.
And the brother recanted his testimony.
Right.
Her brother.
Wow. I can't believe I haven't heard of this. I didn't even see that headline either.
Yeah, so I was trying to find stuff for the show, and I just happened to punch true crime into the fucking search for news.
Got that one?
And got that. Like, I was like, fuck it, I'll grab this because this is super interesting. Because everything I grab
I want to know about it.
Is and I did grab it for it was this was published on April 21st, so it was within the last week. Because I try to grab my news stories for the week, I always try to make sure that they are from the previous week. I go a week back in news stories. You know, so that we're always presenting stuff that's relevant and, you know, of the time that we're in, you know, especially when it comes to the strange stuff. You know, there's some stuff like the Flatwoods monster story that we did tonight is obviously an old story, but it was published within the last week that they were talking about it. So I was like, fuck it, we'll throw it in, you know, as like basically as filler. Because I'm not even gonna lie to everybody. The strange news is harder and harder to fucking find these days.
It really is.
So
there's nothing.
Yeah, it's a shit show too. Like what you can find is
garbage.
Yeah, it's garbage. And then there's stuff like, you know, it's a Bigfoot conference or it's a UFO conference
or that creative little lady Bigfoot hike. I mean,
right, which hey, is cute. It's fine. You know, I'm glad people have found an interesting way to do something cool, you know, and and it's because of their little book club, you know, whatever. The little lady Bigfoot things that they had made, they look cool. I'm going to give them that. They're interesting.
But it's not the tantalizing Bigfoot stories we used to really dive into back in the Disney, you know?
Right.
It's not the good old Bigfoot community days that we used to love.
Yeah. That's not the shit. So,
no.
But so you think Adnan Syed is fucking involved?
I do. Have you okay, so Stephanie Harlow, the one that my husband and I call the naughty librarian.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, so she does the podcast Crime Weekly or True Crime Weekly. I think it's just Crime Weekly with Derek Levasseur.
Mm-hmm.
They did a deep dive on it. It was like a 4 or 5 episode long thing. It was really long. And I had watched the documentary and seen some stuff, and the documentary leads you in a direction. And when you really sit down and break down the actual like public evidence of the case and stuff, he had guilt knowledge. There were things that could not be explained as to where he was, when he was there, why he was there, and things he did know. But then when you go to court, it's not right the way he got convicted. So it's super, super messy. I'm not saying he did it, but he was a suspect for a reason and he went down for a reason, but he didn't get a fair trial.
There's more questions than answers.
Yes. Yeah.
The
things that weighed heavy for the jury weren't quite fair. And the whole thing is really, really messy. But no, I think it's fair that he's been released. I think he should be out based on the way things went. I'm not arguing with that. But I could see another trial happening and him going back.
I'll have to look into that one because that was one. It's been a hot minute since I've watched the documentary that came out.
It's a lot of hours to invest time-wise, but watch the several series from Crime Weekly where they break it down in 4 or 5 episodes. I mean, total, it's probably like 10 hours of content. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a lot, but it really, really breaks it down in a different way where you get an unbiased look at it and you're like, okay, there's some facts here that we can't just sit back and ignore.
Yeah, maybe I'll listen to it while I'm painting.
Yeah, it's great. I love those two. I love Stephanie Harlow. She's like one of my faves. So
maybe we can dig deep into it like next week or something.
I'd be down. I'd rewatch it to refresh everything for it. It's a pretty recent one though. They did it within the past 6 months, I think. So
really,
yeah, it's a recent one.
That would be that would be pretty topical anyway.
For sure.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and he just recently got released here in the past couple months, didn't he? I mean, it was a fair.
I'm not sure when he got released. I know that the documentary had said that he was going to be released.
I want to say it was in the last 6 to 9 months for sure. I mean, it's a relevant topic still for sure, especially because everybody's still expecting this to go back to court. I mean, he was released, but that doesn't mean it's over, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Is there anything new on the Lori Vallow trial?
Just a lot more really hard to listen to phone call and testimony. I mean, I don't think there was anything too groundbreaking, but it's more of her son, Colby, testified, and more of their phone calls got released, and there were more like expert testimony stuff. And
Now, is that the son that wound up getting charged with sexual assault?
I don't think so. Well, I'm not familiar with that.
The son that was in the documentary.
For Lori Vallow?
Yeah. The older son who has the wife with the kids.
It's the adult son that
Yeah.
wasn't a kid when all this happened.
Yeah, he's the one. He got brought up on sexual assault charges.
Against whom? I don't remember that. That's like
Hold on. Colby.
Ryan, I think was his last name, right?
I'm looking it up right now. All right. Charges dropped against the son of Lori Vallow, the Idaho mom accused of killing two of her children. The sexual assault charges against Colby Jordan Ryan, 26, were dismissed without prejudice, meaning additional charges can be filed in the future. Let me look at this up so that you can be up to date on this one. This one was on September 13th, 2022. Sexual assault charges against the son of Lori Vallow Daybell dropped. And this is from CBSnews.com. Sexual assault charges against Colby Jordan Ryan, the eldest and only surviving son of Lori Vallow Daybell, who is accused of killing her other two children, have been dropped according to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. Ryan was arrested last week in Arizona after being accused by his estranged wife of rape. So him and his wife are estranged now.
And that happened like 2 days before the alleged murder.
Yeah.
But it's completely unrelated to the crimes.
And I love how I just was reading a news story and I used the R word, and now we're going to get wound up.
Oh, probably. Dang it. Ain't
fucking,
that a bitch?
Fucking, that's the bitch with YouTube.
I know.
Like, fucking, Like, I can't even talk. I'm not allowed to speak.
I know.
Like normal to adults. Everything, and here's the other thing about this show that we do. Everything about it, I note as explicit or uncensored.
Right.
In the description, I put on this podcast is uncensored. When I note it, it's explicit, not for children.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
Nope.
They're still gonna fucking ding you. But, and Nick DiPaolo, God bless him, comedian. I was watching a podcast the other day, and he informed me of this fact. But, Katie, did you know that you can watch pelvic exams on YouTube?
I watched an autopsy, so
you can see a female getting a pelvic exam on YouTube, uncensored.
But you can't say the word rape.
Correct.
Isn't that insane?
Correct.
It's funny you bring this up because I today was scrolling through YouTube, and they recommend the like shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, actually, this wasn't a short. I take that back. This was like a community post where you can do a community post and just put pictures and words.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a recommended post, not from someone I'm subscribed to.
Right.
It was Doja Cat, full exposure. Like, she was wearing a see-through shirt with her nipples showing.
Nice.
I don't have a problem with that. Don't get me wrong. I was not
either.
Insulted by Doja Cat's nipples.
Nah.
But tell me why that was put on my feed unsolicited, but yet we can't say the word rape on our show.
Yeah.
You can show me Doja Cat's nipples without my permission.
Because somebody might get triggered. over a word.
What about those nipples?
I'm triggered.
It like stopped me in my tracks because first of all, I'm not subscribed to Doja Cat. So,
Right.
but I just nipples. Whoa, why are there nipples on my YouTube feed when YouTube is like a Nazi about all of these rules and they're just showing me nipples without asking my permission first? They literally ask me permission before I watch videos on a regular basis where they're like,
Yeah.
this video you're about to watch contains explicit content. Are you sure you want to watch it? But yet they show me Doja Cat's nipples without my permission.
Absolutely.
Make it make sense.
Absolutely. It's just the way it is.
I
don't know what
breaks
to
my
tell you,
brain.
Katie.
I don't get it.
Up is down, left is right. 2 + 2 = 5. I don't know what to tell
in
you.
a 12-dimensional world. That's what it is. There's just 12 dimensions and we can't keep up with all of them.
No, it's I've said this a million times, and I know this has been oversaid by people, but we are living in such a fucking Orwellian society where they have convinced us, or convinced a portion of us, that 2 + 2 = 5. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they fucking did it.
I'm not convinced they really did it, but they're presenting it as they're convincing people that they did. I don't think there's really that many people that are out there that are like, wow.
Like, I think it's ridiculous that if we curse during the first, I think it's like 2 minutes or 5 minutes, it's somewhere in that ballpark,
which I did
of the
say.
video, that the video is not eligible for monetization. But if we curse after that, we're fine.
But forget about cursing. If you say those specific words at
Right,
any
if you use any
point
of those
during
other
your video.
keywords, yeah, you're correct. You're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I just don't know anymore.
It's gross for sure.
Like, and the Facebook bullshit with I've set up a new. I actually set up a new page, just in case, sort of thing.
Right.
I wanted to grab the Fortean Files name.
Yeah.
So I grabbed a new page, but I haven't set it up or anything yet because we're coming up on a year. We're almost at 11 months that the page has been fucking castrated. So, and I look at the engagement on that page and I want to cry. 50,000.
That page used to be lit, man.
50,000, 55,000 or something like that. 50 something thousand. Let me look. Let me just look. It's been dropping because since they've put this ban on. Yeah, 55K. I was at 60.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen. I was at 60 at one point. 55K followers. And the engagement on my post, let's see. I posted a little cartoon that got 4 likes. I posted a little meme, Imperial Volkswalkers. It was an Imperial Walker with a Volkswagen on top of it. Got 15 likes. 15.
And back when I was still on Facebook, your engagement was like
crazy,
on fire. Yeah, you had tons of likes and comments and shares, and
now
Facebook's
it's a
fucking
ghost town. Ghost town. Yeah, so I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I don't know what social media platform to go to.
Right.
I've tried putting the stuff on Rumble. And while I'm, hopeful that it's, gonna do well, it just, it's,
right. It's slow going.
So I as always, I would ask, the people that enjoy the show, that listen to the show, share the show around. If you know somebody you think would like the show, share the show with them. I mean, whatever. subscribe to the show, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and did I change over? Yes, I did. So subscribe to the podcast through Spotify, or well, especially through Spotify. But we are on like Stitcher, so you can fucking listen to it on there. But on Spotify, you can still watch the video.
Yeah.
So that's why I suggest to everybody to subscribe to us through Spotify, because you can still watch the video if you missed the show live. The video is on there. I've checked it to make sure that it works, and it does work just fine. But you know, if you like just listen to the audio, then hey, have at. But we've been showing a lot of videos and pictures and shit on the show, so I figured people would want to see the video version of the podcast. And until further notice, you know, always check by the Facebook page, facebook.com/the Fortean Slip. I don't know how much longer it will be working, but you know, check by.
We'll see.
And you know, if you like the show, here's what I'm going to tell you: go to the actual page and look through the shit, because Facebook is not going to show you the posts.
Right.
If you
have to seek
whatever
it out.
one post they're fucking disseminating to you, there's a lot more, I assure you, that you're not seeing.
Yeah.
And you know, subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ at the Fortean Files. That's the @ symbol, TheForteanFiles. And follow us. Katie and I are still working out the format. We're getting used to the whole idea of taking our break in between and swapping over. We are getting better as we go. So
Indeed. We're trying.
The thing that everybody should know is the first half of the show is kind of basic shit we've done before.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot very similar to stuff we did on the old show. And we're getting better about organizing this stuff, and as we go on, we'll hammer this shit out a lot better. As I was saying to everybody before, I think it was last week, maybe it was the week before, the show will be staying on Monday nights. We won't be changing, at least any time in the near future. So the show will be live on YouTube on Monday nights. I don't have any plans currently of having it live on any other services. I tried to get it live on Rumble. I couldn't figure out how to fucking do it. So that's that.
We'll get there someday.
Yeah, maybe. So until next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, take care of one another out there. Be good to yourselves, and we will see you Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye.